Hey everyone, it's Isaac, and welcome back to another episode of ChatterBeans. Today I'm joined by the incredible Vnisha, a DJ, coach, and all round creative force. In this episode, we talk about what it really means to slow down, find clarity, and reconnect with yourself. From growing up as a Belieber to navigating fame, mental health, creativity, and community, Vnisha opens up about moments that helped shape her and the power of choosing a slower, more intentional pace. It's an honest, grounded, and such a beautiful conversation. So let's get into it. This is ChatterBeans with Vnisha. Vnisha, welcome to ChatterBeans. How are you?
Thanks for having me. I'm excited for this. Super.
I reached out to you because, well, we'll come on to it in a second, but I'm so grateful that you said yes, so thank you for coming.
Oh no, so thank you so much for asking me. I felt so flattered. I remember when you messaged me, I was like in the middle of changing over between coaching and I had a quick little like time check and I saw any notifications and I was like, stop it. Hello you, I'm down to clown, let's go.
I love it. So we know each other a little bit from coaching days, and so we've spoken a little bit, but I didn't know until recently, and I think this is when I messaged you, but you are a big believer.
Oh, the biggest.
Tell us about that.
Okay. Well, once upon a time, I just thought I'd let everyone know on the podcast and who's listening is that me and Justin Bieber are the exact same age. We don't have the same birthday by any means, but we're the same age. So I discovered him when he dropped the song One Time. And then I remember just hearing it and really just liking it, thinking like, who's this guy?
Yeah.
And just being a teenage girl. And then ever since then, I've just followed him pretty much since day one. And he dropped his latest album, Swag and Swag Part 2, which I've dropped little reviews on each, content incoming. And what I love about him is that, first and foremost, he's such an incredibly talented individual. He was the first of the OG YouTube stars.
Really?
Yeah. So he actually began his career on YouTube, but his mum would film him playing drum sets, singing, and she would just put them on YouTube to show family. That was the intention. The intention wasn't, because remember, this is YouTube back in the day, like red logo, really grainy, like we're showing our age now.
Yes.
And it was just a platform for his family in other parts of Canada or wherever they were based to see it. Then Scooter Braun discovers your boy, and then boom.
Yeah.
Global star.
Have you seen him live?
3 times. So yeah, no, 3 times. I've seen him live 3 times. I saw him live when he headlined I'm going to say V Festival. V Festival, he headlined on the Purpose Tour.
God, there's a blast from the past.
V Fest.
Does that still exist?
It does, but it's a little...
I went to that.
Yeah. Who was the headline act for you?
God knows.
It's like a younger crowd now,
Literally.
guys.
I'm 34 now, and I think I went when I was, 19?
Yeah,
maybe?
it's a teen crowd.
Yeah.
So JB was headlining that. And then I saw him again at British Summertime Festival, where he was the headline act again. Then, great story, he launched the Justice Tour, and I was hell-bent on getting tickets for that. And they'd all sold out. And it was me and my friend that were going to go. And my friend said this to me. He goes, don't worry. Word for word, this is what he said to me. He said, don't worry, Vnisha, I'll win the tickets. And I was like...
I love the confidence.
I was like, in my head, I was just rolling my eyes. I was like, yeah, right, you're going to win Justin Bieber tickets. Now catch this, okay?
Oh, go on.
Home. No, genuinely. I come home from coaching. And you know when you've had one of those days that you're kind of sat at the edge of your bed with your rucksack still on and your jacket zipped up and you're still kind of like mustering up the minerals to sort of take off the day. And then I'm just sat at the edge of my bed, kind of just getting ready to unwind, unzip the jacket, and then I see a number on my phone. It's a mobile number.
Yeah.
I don't recognize it. It's obviously not been saved. So I answer the call completely knackered. I'm like, hello? And they're like, hi, is that Vnisha? And I'm like, yeah. you're live on Capital FM.
No.
Your friend Adam has chosen you. And I was like, you know, when you're like, I was fighting for my life a second ago on the edge of my bed, about to just be like, do I just quit my job? Like, tired from the day. And I'm live on the radio on Capital FM. And then they cue my friend Adam on the other line. And he said, I could hear him sort of giggling in the background. And Justin Bieber was the headline act for the Christmas Jingle Bell Ball.
Yeah.
And he'd won the tickets. And I was just...
So he'd already won them?
So basically, yeah. And then they brought me on air.
That is insane.
I know. That's why I just have moments where I was just a bit like...
So you must have had a great view as well, right?
Well, yeah, like they weren't up front by any means, but for me, this was another plot twist. So it was going to be Coldplay was the headline act, and Justin Bieber was just before them. Catch this, Coldplay ended up getting COVID, so then Justin Bieber's set was even longer. So I was like,
winning,
lots of love, Coldplay.
Wow.
Hope you feel better. But that's how he ended up getting tickets, and he willed it into existence. And yeah, I remember I remember that
what a
clear
great
as day.
story.
I know.
Yeah.
Insane behavior. Imagine if I didn't answer that call.
Wow.
You never know.
And so you so I was like literally taken in by your socials.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you really love his music
No,
as well.
I really do. He's super talented, and I think people forget that. I think people forget his talent.
Particularly lately, right?
Yeah, I think he's very talented in the sense that he plays numerous instruments. He can produce, he can songwrite, he's a great vocalist. But I also think people need to remember that he was a child star.
Yes.
And we need to also, factor in how majority of child stars end up following sort of just this one lane of it just ending up super uncool and unfair and burnt to a crisp and sort of cast one side. To see him now, happily married with a family, making music he really wants to make, doing things he genuinely wants to do, as opposed to back in the day, it's like chart, sell merchandise, tour, cash cow, milk, what all these sort of music labels and sort of industry folk do to artists. So to see him on the other side and see him sort of in like a happier place, having, I think he's really found his faith as well. He's quite open, sort of sort of expressing that, especially sort of in an industry that is quite the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Talking about love, his relationship with God, his relationship with his friends, his family, his mistakes, his journey. And I think the parallels between me and him, because we're the same age, I could go through what I went through in, I had privacy, like he didn't.
No.
And I think people forget that. And I remember, I think we're quite similar in the sense that, we have backgrounds in TV, we have backgrounds sort of in coaching. We like to be at the forefront of the attention. We're very extroverted. It takes a certain kind of person, but I think...
But we can also switch it off.
Right. And I think when you are a young person thrust in front of the world, and to have that pressure and lack of guidance as well, because he didn't come from a very wealthy background. He came from a single parent household where he was brought up just by his mother. I remember watching some of his documentaries, and he talked about his mother having to work numerous jobs. They lived in a very small flat. He really, he came from a super working class, sort of underprivileged background, to then have all this money, all this fame. And we all know what happens when you go from zero to all of that. And I look back and I remember wanting to be, I did musical theatre growing up. I did all of these things, and I wanted to be in front of the camera, in the spotlight. And I used to really want to be, a lot of young people want to be these child stars, these teenage stars. And I kept thinking, like, why isn't this happening to me? Why is mine sort of taking a slightly slower route? And now I'm here, age 31, with sort of where I'm at in my life. I thank God daily.
Yeah.
I'm like, my central nervous system could not have handled that. And at that time, I remember being so mad at the world, being like, why isn't it me? Why wasn't I chosen? Blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, looking back now, it was like the biggest stroke of luck, because this Venetia now could definitely handle it, but also I have boundaries now. There,
Exactly.
and also I think there's a level of which when you're young, there's such a desperate need for fame, attention, money, that you're like at any cost, you
Well,
know?
and people are now, right? They're like social media, OnlyFans, putting
Yeah.
so much content out there.
Yeah.
I don't know how you recover from that when
Yeah.
you've done it at such a young age.
Yeah. And the thing is that the internet will follow you. So
Yeah.
like once that's out online,
Yeah.
so like for example, it's a similar thing when you've got stars who've had enough and they have their moments in front of the paparazzi, in front of other people, and they're kind of like fish in an aquarium.
Yeah.
And 1 second you're applauding and next minute people are mocking. And
Yep.
it's quite I don't know, I feel like people feel like it's okay to as well.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh yeah, we signed up for this.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
Do you know
an
it?
entitlement to it slightly.
Totally. And it's a weird comparison, but I've talked about Oscar a lot on this podcast. I may as well continue. He's just been in a show, musical theatre in London.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this because the cast are there doing a job.
100%.
And some of the super hardcore fans forget that sometimes. And they're there at stage door. They're demanding that they come out. They're pissed off when they don't come out.
There's a
And it's
level of
like-
ownership, right?
There's like this entitlement and ownership of this character that they're playing on stage. They're just doing a job. And they've worked hard, 8 shows a week. They just want to go home sometimes. And I think people forget about it. They think that they own them because they know them. And because of social media,
100%.
they see a bit more into their lives than just the character they're playing on the stage. They think they're friends almost.
100%. And that's the difference between fame before the internet and fame after the internet. Because now, back then, the only connection you could have to your Tina Turners, your Michael Jacksons, these huge stars was through their album art, through a physical CD, through a cassette, through the one-off meet and greets.
And what you'd read in the paper probably, which...
MTV.
Yeah.
Music videos. But there was a clear cut-off point. Nowadays, it's this constant stream of access to them. You've got their lives, their Instagram stories, their posts, their TikToks. You're seeing the inside, and I've interviewed and spoken to some YouTubers, and there are people who say that this whole sort of internet space is like they have to draw boundaries of what do the audience get access to, but also there's a level of which that I remember speaking to a YouTuber who I was interviewing for a series, and he explains that because he made his following giving people access to it, that they started to plateau and wanted more access. By that I mean the viewership dropped a bit, because it was like, okay, we've seen the inside of your house, and your girlfriend is now your wife. They want more and more and more. And then this is what I mean by back then, because we didn't have the internet, it was very easy to have a nice separation between how much access the audience gets to you.
Just before we move on, because I want to talk about some TV and coaching stuff, you've got something with you.
Stop it.
Come on, bring it into...
Go on.
This is how much of a fan you are.
You know what? I actually have... Which camera can I show this to?
This one here.
This one here. Okay. So this is from the Justin Bieber Purpose Tour. So it says Bieber at the bottom, and then it says...
It's so clean.
World Tour down the side. I'll come in with a tea-stained one next time. And then the Purpose Tour at the back. This was his, I would say, his most sort of like breakout tour, I would say. I think his initial fan base was teenage girls, but when he dropped Purpose, even if you weren't a believer or a fan of him or knew much of him, you knew, what do you mean? You knew Sorry.
Yeah.
And he ran the summer for me in 2016 when he dropped Sorry, but that Purpose album made his fan base go from teenage girls to everyone. There was like, I remember seeing little videos at the time of like grown men being like, oh my God, am I going to the Purpose Tour? But, that album was when his audience changed.
Yeah.
And I feel like there is a huge respect for him in the industry because his audience has diversified, because of the artists he's collaborating with, and his ability to be quite genre fluid. You know,
Yeah.
Swag is a very R&B heavy album. He dips into his pop. There's a couple of sort of like some slight sort of pop rappy tracks as well. And I think I feel like I've, as a believer, as a as someone who's kind of seen him for his talent and his skill set and a real appreciation for him as an artist, it's nice when I can finally see the general sort of
Yeah.
population see him that way as
Yeah.
well. And it's quite nice to see, and I'm very privileged that I think I have an artist that I really love, and then sort of, you know, me and him will definitely have a link up for sure. But it's nice when I have that because I have some people who have their own sort of artists that they love. Like I have a friend, and like Whitney Houston is the artist he grew up with.
Yeah.
Do you have an artist you love, or a band, or anyone that you?
I mean, I shouldn't. I don't know. No, I should. No, do you know what? I had someone on the podcast recently. It was like, never apologize for who you like.
Yeah.
I did go and see Lewis Capaldi last week,
Yes,
and I
you
did have a
did.
little cry because
Tell me.
he bailed out a couple of years ago quite badly with Tourette's, right? And he was so unwell. To then come back, and I saw him. It was at the O2. So confident. He had no signs of Tourette's. Like he was so confident. He sang so well, and I was like, "Wow, good for you." Because we've seen the flip side of some people, some artists, right, that don't make it. That it's all too much. They don't get help. And so it was quite emotional. And Oscar was with me, and he's like, "I really don't want to go to Lewis Capaldi. He doesn't like big concerts like that because he thinks that the music is."
That's what happened to Justin Bieber. He
Exactly.
I don't know whether I'm good luck or bad luck, but every time I see him, the 3 times I've seen him, the second time I saw him when he headlined British Summertime Festival, that was still in the Purpose tour. After he did British Summertime, he cancelled all his Purpose tour dates.
Yeah.
And then Justice as well. So when I saw him at Jingle Bell Ball, he was on his Justice tour, and then again a couple of days later he had to cancel.
This is it.
And this is what I mean by when I look at artists and I look at their tour dates, and I'm like,
Yeah. It's impossible.
They are one person. And when I look at it, and now I look at it as as a 31-year-old woman who's, something that just comes with age, and you just look at this and you actually understand when an artist says, I've actually been on the road for a year.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, that actually makes sense. You actually have been on the road for a year.
Yeah.
You either see a hotel room or a tour bus.
Yeah.
And then
For what?
And it's great, but then a lot of artists say, I've been to Italy 8 times but never seen Italy, and I think that is crazy.
Yeah.
Because
sure, they get a load of money, right? But money's only good when
the story always goes the same. The story is the same whether you're an actor, singer, dancer, whatever. It's always the same. After a while, the novelty wears off. Your friends kind of fizzle out. Like we all see it going the same way. And this is what I mean by now I'm here. I'm like, wow, there is actually so much I do have.
Yeah.
And also privacy. Like the amount of times I've even heard like some footballers who I sort of follow and listen to and watch some games, and they say it. They're like, this is amazing. But he was like, you don't know how rich you are when you can just go outside and go for a coffee and sit by yourself.
Yeah.
And people don't realize it until they're in this.
True.
Do you get what I mean?
So true. Yeah.
That's wealth. People think, and especially when we sort of live in a world of capitalism.
Yeah.
Where money is the forefront, and then now with social media, likes, follows, there's another form of currency, and that's great. But people don't realize health is wealth, privacy is wealth, and it takes sort of age, seeing things over time, for it to sort of really hit home.
Completely agree. So music is obviously something you're super passionate about, and you dabble in the old DJing, right?
I do.
Tell us about that.
Well, actually, DJing found me.
Okay.
I obviously we met because we're both Group X coaches, and music in class is very, very important. And a lot of people over my sort of 8 year career spanning Group X kept asking for my playlist, and they kept asking and kept asking. And I said, cool, you know, follow me on Spotify.
Yeah.
Here's my playlist. And I started to notice like it started to build a bit of a following. Then a lot of people kept asking, oh, are you a DJ? Are you a DJ? And I just kept sort of brushing it off. Then they just kept asking. So I was like, maybe I am. 8 people have asked me this in the space of a week. So I
Gotta
was
do
like,
it.
maybe I am. And then I knew other coaches who'd kind of gone and done these courses. And I was like,
It's the reason I did it as well.
right.
For cycle, it's like...
So I was like, do I give this a go? So I did, and I did a beginner's course at London Sound Academy. And then I really hit it off with my, I call him my DJ sensei, Paul, who's currently on tour at the moment. And we sort of hit it off, and I'm now working towards playing my own sort of headline set coming up as well. So yeah, you're
That's so
obviously going to
exciting.
come on down. You've been cordially invited. But yeah, so it was because of that.
Yeah.
And I love the fact it kind of found me.
Yeah.
And
For me, it's like looking at you and knowing your vibe. I'm like, it's 100% a match. Do you know what I mean? The
I
energy,
really
like...
appreciate that, because you know what's so funny is that when I say it, I love it when people, because I've had it when I say it now, because I think naturally there was a little bit of imposter syndrome, right? Because I think when you start something brand new at a certain age,
Yeah.
it feels like it should just be a hobby and it shouldn't necessarily make money. And there's no problem if it doesn't make money, but as in like, it's kind of, especially we kind of live in the world where you're like, you do one thing forever and then you die, you know, as opposed to having multiple things.
We have talked about this so much on this podcast. We've changed. The
I
world has changed.
call myself a professional part-timer.
I love it. I love it.
I am a professional part-timer, but I'm like, I've been self-employed my whole life, and I'm more than happy to talk about that in a second, but self-employed my whole life. But I looked at it and I was like, you know what, I'm going to give this a go.
Yeah.
And when I've had such great feedback, I was like, you know what, I might as well listen to this. And when I do say to people now, because, you know, I've played a couple of sets, I've recorded some stuff, I'm now working towards something of my own. I'm like, I am a DJ. And I think it takes some time to take that ownership.
Yep.
And then when I do say it, you know, people sort of ask, what do you do? I explain, you know, I coach, I do some PTing, I content create, and I'm also a DJ. And what they say is I see it. And I appreciate that.
Totally.
And I really appreciate that, because I think at a time, I definitely doubted myself for sure. And I think you compare yourself to the biggest in the game, right? Straight away. Like I'm sitting there starting my little like small decks and I'm like comparing myself to Fred again. But because in my head, I'm like, God, I can defo get there. But you naturally kind of, when you're starting in a new space, you kind of compare yourself to the goats and the people who've been doing it since day one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, DJing is something that found me, and it's surprisingly, I kind of have found my people in it a little bit. And I think what I found quite refreshing is that I did find kind of people on my wave, like just because it's the music industry.
Yeah.
And I think anyone who has half a brain, you look at the music industry and things that have been said about it, common, you just like, I wouldn't particularly say they're the friendliest and the most welcoming bunch.
Yeah.
But I feel like because sort of it's kind of found me, I've kind of found the people, and I'm like, you lot are all right.
I love that.
Yeah.
And that the age of 30 and coming into your 30s,
The coolest.
I found is super tough, because you're no longer in your 20s. You're kind of like finding yourself, you're becoming a proper adult, right?
Yeah.
And some people drift away. And
Yep.
I think finding new people in things that you truly enjoy
Oh,
is not easy.
it isn't.
And so I'm really pleased that you found that.
But it's taken time. I'll be completely honest with you. I'd say around 26 onwards, I felt like there was a real shedding period that happens. The tail end of your 20s.
Yeah.
And I'd say when I hit 30, did I really sort of start to see the change? And what I mean by that is it's a process. You've got to shed first. And then there was like a video I saw online, and it was a guy, and he was talking about how he just sort of looked around the room one day and he was just like, these lot aren't really my people anymore. And it's not that they were bad people by
No.
any means. It's just these aren't my people anymore.
Yeah.
This is natural. We grow, we drift apart, things happen. And I actually I've actually created some content around this, which I'll be dropping soon. I talk about being alone and lonely, and then being alone but not lonely.
Yeah.
And that's what this process has done. So I went from shedding my friends, being alone, and being very lonely, very lonely. But I made a promise to myself, and I was like, you know what? I would rather be by myself, sitting in my loneliness, than with the wrong people, because that drains my energy. And I had to sit with that for a very long time. But it was a promise I'd made to myself.
Mm.
And the reason it got lonely is because I didn't have people to share things with. I didn't get the invites anymore. Um, and then you just kind of have to really just sit with yourself. Then eventually I was alone but not lonely, and that it helped me sit in myself, um and look at the things that I was like I loved about myself, but things I'm like, you know what, we need to work on this.
Yeah.
And just put your hands up and go, hey, this was 26-year-old Venetia.
Mm.
We can now sort of fix and tighten and sort of elevate yourself. And in the process of that, I really loved my own company. You know, I was in New York recently.
Yeah,
And
you for the summer, right?
yeah, and I did a lot of solo dining, like going out for dinners on my own,
Nice.
going out to do sort of just my own touristy stuff, going out, linking up with some DJ lot, some fitness lot, got some friends out there. But I really sort of love my own company now. Like, I think, you know, if you can go on holiday on your own, if you can sit and have dinner on your own, like in a public space on your ones fully. And I loved it because with New York, there's a real culture for solo dining there, way more than sort of here.
Yeah.
And if anyone's watching and is curious, what I would suggest just to ease yourself in is take the bar seat. So they always offer you, they're like, would
Yeah.
you like a table or the bar?
Yeah.
Because when you say yes to the bar, you end up sitting with other people who are solo diners as well.
Yeah.
So I remember I took myself out and I was like, I want to do the Brooklyn Bridge for sure.
Yeah.
And I had a couple of mates I was going to do it with, but they all fell through. And I was like, I'm going with or without you lot, you know?
Good
So
for
they
you.
fell through and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. And I wanted to do Brooklyn Bridge at night.
Yeah.
So I took myself out for a bit of a late dinner. And my mate had recommended a couple of restaurants. And I was like, cool, I'm going to pull up to this place. Pulled up, they were like, table or bar? And I was like, bar. So I went to the bar and I was by myself at the bar. I then sort of got talking with the bartender.
Yeah, exactly.
And do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I'd never had oysters before. So I was like, what are your oysters like? And then he was like, they're good. And I was like, cool. I'll do one, you do one. So me and the bartender were doing oysters. Then this guy who was also solo dining joins, and then he ends up
Fantastic.
getting a bottle of wine. And he was like, he kind of nudges me and he was like, I'm not going to finish this. Do you want to share the bottle? And then before you know it, you're mingling. And then you've made friends with the bartender. You've made friends with the cleaner. You've
Yeah.
made friends with and it's just so much fun. And I think it's an art that's massively lost nowadays because we're so, you know, looking down all the time, no eye contact.
Yeah. People are too afraid to be on their own.
Oh, 100%.
I love just what you said about being lonely and alone.
And alone but not lonely.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I've been through it myself,
Oh.
and I'm probably coming out of it now. And, you know, I had to do a lot of work around just letting people be, you know, letting go of people, letting go of friends. I got married a year and a half ago.
Congratulations.
I haven't spoken to my best man since the day of the wedding.
Stop.
Because, you know, after 10 years, we probably realised before the wedding,
Mhm.
it actually happened around the stag do,
Mm-hmm.
you just start to realise we're different people.
100%.
We're at different stages, and I
Mhm.
think the reason I asked him to be my best man is because of the history,
Mhm.
not necessarily because of where I'm at now or where I want to be in the future.
Mhm.
And, you know,
Mhm.
and I wish him the best.
People
and
mix up history.
Yes.
There are too many times where we've all done it. And I know that there will be viewers here just nodding whilst
Yeah.
listening or watching this because we've all been there.
Yeah.
I have made excuses for people.
Yeah.
I have preempted things, and then those things happen, and then I let them happen.
Yeah.
and then you kind of justify their shitty behavior
Mm.
because of those good times.
And because you don't want to be lonely.
A
So you're like, oh, I'd rather go for
100%.
coffee with that person that I really am not keen
100%.
anymore.
100%. And now that I'm in the position where I'm alone but not lonely, and then on the other side of that, going back to sort of you saying me finding my sort of my people amongst the DJ space, it's because of that. It's because I went through the alone and painfully lonely part to the alone but not lonely. Now I'm in a position where I can look up and I'm like, I really love the people that, you know, I'm around, because what I've realized is everything is a reflection of your insides. And like my insides now are like in a real good solid place of, you know, I know what's me and what's not me. You
Yeah.
know, like I really know who I am, and what
Yeah.
you can only truly know who you are when you've really sat in that solitude and you've put your hands up and gone, yeah, that behavior's whack, Venetia, maybe go work on that.
Yeah.
Hey, I love that, but maybe we look at it this way. Hey, maybe we just kind of be a little bit more softer, more gentle. How about we sort of slow down a little bit? You've got to really do your inventory. And I think you can only bring in the correct people and the people you really want when you start here. So I
Yeah.
think once you've hit that alone but not lonely, you've kind of got that healthy boundary, and you just know straight away when someone's it or they're not.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
100%.
And then now I look up and I'm like, I like you lot. I like the crowd I'm around, and your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yeah.
You know? So
Totally.
now you look around and I'm like,
Yeah.
I absolutely deserve where I am because I've really worked on it, you
Yeah.
know?
And I love that you said that. And this is the reason I wanted this podcast, because there are too many podcasts out there with celebrities that say these things.
Yeah.
But you're a real person. This
Yeah.
is why I want real conversations.
Yeah.
With people that aren't afraid to say it, because I'm
Mhm.
hoping it will relate to someone a bit more. Coaching.
Yes, tell
Nike
me.
ambassador, right?
Yeah.
Where did all that start?
Yeah. So Nike approached me. Well, to be fair, Nike has always been a brand that I've loved. I think we can all go way back and think about, you know, just the Nike adverts that would just have us pumped and inspired, right?
Yeah.
Like we've got the Ronaldinho adverts, the Cristiano Ronaldo adverts, the Roger Federer ones, the Serena Williams ones. And I just have always wanted an affiliation with them. And it's really funny because I've always had a little gut instinct that I was always going to have some sort of collaboration with Nike at a very young age.
Really?
100%.
Yeah.
But at the back of my head, I was like, but I'm not a pro athlete, right? So there was a little bit of like,
How do I get?
how?
Yeah. How's it going to happen?
The instinct is like, girl, don't you worry. But like my thinking brain is like, are you right?
Yeah.
You sure? This doesn't make any sense. You don't play any professional sport. So, you know, coaching wasn't my first career choice. I actually had a career in TV and film, and I obviously run a production company outside of this, but that was my
Yeah.
initial thing. I thought that's how I was going to do it. I thought maybe I'd film direct an advert for them or something, and I'd love to. Nike people watching, let's collaborate on that. But I thought in my head, I was like, coming from a TV and film background, I just thought maybe that's the way. My logical brain was like, that's probably the way you'll land a little Nike moment, and you can direct an advert for them or something. That was the initial sort of thought, Venetia, in the TV space. Then life takes a bit of a plot twist, and coaching becomes, you know, my sort of next step in my life. And I got a DM one day from Nike saying that they were launching this sort of collective and this fitness space. And I had a couple of Nike people do my class, like secret shopper style. So I had no idea they were. And I thought it was a scam. I thought, who in the what is this DM? So there was an email address, and I emailed the email address. They then replied, and I did that thing where I was like, triple check LinkedIn. Is this a real person?
Yeah.
It's giving scam.
I love it.
What do you mean all my dreams are going to come true? I'm like, so I did like the LinkedIn thing, and I was like, oh, she's real. But I still just kept doubting it until the Nike contract came through, and I saw that swoosh. And I was like,
yes.
yeah. this is what we're doing. And then then we had obviously we had the call, and then we spoke about the sort of ambassador contract. And then they said, oh, if you're free, we'd love to, fly you out to the European headquarters. And I was like, if I'm free, I'm free. I'm free. Whatever
Drop
it is,
everything.
I'm free. So I was like,
That's insane.
bananas in pajamas is what that was.
Yeah.
So I was like, count me in. And then pretty much from there, I've been with them. I'm just so, I don't know. I feel like having moments like this with you, it kind of makes you realize.
Yeah.
Because it does take slowing down and sitting and
Yeah.
talking about it. Because
So
for me, it's just not like, I'm not realizing that younger Venetia is like this right now.
Yeah.
Because I think we're so caught up in the next
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And it takes an external person to be like, hey, you know that thing, honey boo boo? Yeah.
Do you know, it's one of my favorite bits about recording episodes, because when I finish recording and we click the buttons, everyone's like, wow.
Yeah.
I just stopped and I relived my life for a
Yeah.
moment. So if you want to be on the podcast, yeah. So you get like lots of products, right?
Yeah.
And do all sorts of cool things
Yeah.
with them. Like, is it still amazing?
Yeah, Nike reached out to me. I think this was like, we've done numerous things, but one thing that really stuck out to me was when I'm gonna actually show the shoe. Can I see the trainer? So these are it's actually good I wore these today, but they're the Nike Pegasus Premiums, and these pair of trainers are very, very special to me because
I want these.
So Nike reached out and they said, we are going to do a launch for the Nike Pegasus Premium. And, we've got a select amount of coaches. Would you like to be involved? I was like, yes, ma'am. Where do I sign? Where do I go? And then they were like, oh, we're going to do a quick team call. So you guys know what you're going to be doing. So I was like, great. So we're on this call now. And I'm like, listening, and they're like, okay, so you select coaches. I think there was about, I'm going to say 12 to 14 Nike coaches, right? And we were going to be launching these exact trainers called the Pegasus Premiums. And then they were like, this is how we're going to launch these brand new trainers. So Nike hired out the whole of the London Eye. Yeah.
Of course they did.
Bad bitch. And they had treadmills inside each of the pods.
Oh,
I know. It gets better. It gets better. And we were obviously all kitted out in Nike. This was for the launch, so we were all given these, and each coach was paired with an elite athlete. So the elite athlete would be on the treadmill running, and then obviously the Nike coach would be, being super encouraging. And how it worked was each pod, because they did it at nighttime. So
was it red?
It was actually Pegasus orange.
Oh, was it?
So each pod would get brighter and brighter the faster the treadmill would run. It's iconic. So I got paired with Philip Ingebrigtsen, which is Ingebrigtsen's older brother. And he's like some sort of I was just like, okay, great. And we were in, it was just quite surreal.
Yeah.
Because I was like,
so who was in the pod with you?
So I was the Nike coach. Ingebrigtsen was on the treadmill, and then we had camera crew to film everything. We had first aid, God forbid anything happens, and that was pretty much it. And they called us in, and I was like, this is so surreal right now.
Yeah.
And it was like at nighttime.
Fantastic.
And the London Eye was moving around slowly, and it was being projected on the buildings behind, and it was super surreal. And I actually, because the sort of the big sort of athletes as well were Ingebrigtsen, but I also was in the room. And we were getting handed our Pegasus Premium, so they were doing some content with the coaches. So they sent us to go pick up our trainers, and just get some pictures. So I'm in the little, queue to get my trainers, take some picky wickies. And I'm like, taking pictures, smiling, getting my content. I turn around and I'm like, it's Mo Farah. Just act normal right now.
Yeah.
Just gonna act normal right now. Okay. He's
Wow.
just gonna go grab his Pegasus Premiums just like me. And you know what I really loved, because it was quite an out of body moment, but also not at the same time, is like, I belong in this room,
Yeah.
you know? It was surreal because it's like, oh my God, it's happening. Like it's happening right now. But what I felt was like a real sense of I belong here.
Yeah.
You
You've
know,
worked for it. You
I've
deserve
worked
it.
for it, but it was also like that feeling I had back at the beginning of this podcast of like, I knew I was going to have some sort of affiliation with Nike. It was like that version meets this version, and it sort of came together. And I think that was one of my highlights for Nike so far. And I'm going to be, they've invited me down to do this night run in November. It's called the After Dark Tour.
Yeah.
Which people may have seen. And I'm going to be competing with Nike for High Rocks in December as well. So we've got some cool things coming up for sure. But yeah, the Swoosh fam are super cool. And it's always been a brand that I've been inspired by. And I'm really proud to be part of the team.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, but I think everyone, I think the sports space is massively changing now. I think we've got run clubs that are going to be launching, and I think there's so many people getting different affiliations. But I also like seeing just the mixture of how the fitness space is just getting bigger, getting more diverse. I think what I'm seeing is more of the everyday athlete, which I really like.
Yeah.
And I think that's really great, because I think sometimes when people don't end up hitting a certain point, they just stop.
Yeah.
And I think it's bringing that sort of all back again, which is quite cool.
Yeah. So what about the future? Because you've got fingers in many pies.
Many. The future. I would say the future for me is going to be kind of where I'm at. I think where I'm at is amazing, but it's very busy, and I'm kind of at the sort of beginning part, and I feel like I'm waiting for it to kind of settle, and for me to settle into this version of myself, which I've been willing and working hard and bringing into life.
Yeah.
But I feel like DJing, my three-pronged approach, I guess it would be like DJing, coaching. I've launched my personal training business now, and content creation. I think those three will keep me busy.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's focusing in on those three things. And like we said, probably off mic as well, is that we need stimulation.
Yeah.
I can't be doing one thing again and again. Like we spoke about this prior to this podcast, but I look at my schedule and I don't mind starting a little bit later or traveling out a little bit further. So that means my week isn't the same place again and again and again. I'm not seeing the same faces again and again and again. And because I've got this three-pronged approach, sometimes there are days, and I know you feel like it as well, coaching, after a while, sometimes you don't want to be a coach. Sometimes you're just like, I'm human too, and I don't want to
need to change it up.
Exactly. So it's nice where I can coach, and then I can go to DJ, then I can go film some content, and it keeps me stimulated, which then in turn makes me a better DJ, a better coach, a better friend, because I'm getting sort of energy and I'm tapping into the different parts of myself and not sort of staying stagnant.
Good for you. I love it. So in amongst your busy life, do you have time for coffee? Do you like coffee?
I'm not a coffee drinker.
You're not?
I stopped drinking.
Well, I made you a cup of tea, didn't I?
Tea.
So, yeah.
We're a tea crew, an OG tea crew. I stopped drinking coffee for a while. I haven't drunk coffee in about 3 years. Yeah, no, I know.
Good for you.
I know where I am on the scale of mental health.
Okay.
And I'm heavy on the anxiety side.
Are you?
Yeah. So I know that certain things, they're not going to trigger me by any means, but they will elevate an already sort of state.
Yeah.
So I knew, and I was a heavy coffee drinker during uni, and that really messed me up. That wasn't fun. University stressed me out, and then yeah, and I look back and I was like, okay, that was a stressful time, but like having 6 cups of coffee a day
Probably
definitely
didn't help.
didn't help. So I sort of looked back at my heavily caffeinated area. Film and TV was a caffeinated, like long shoot days,
Yeah.
crazy personalities,
Yeah.
coffeeed up. That was a bit of a crazy space. Love the creative space, but I mean, it is a wild sort of space in and of itself, and adding coffee to it wasn't it. So I kind of looked at things and I was like, what can I control? So my hot beverage is matcha, and I got there before it was massive. I'm just letting you know.
Good for you.
Okay, I got there before like matcha babes were a thing and like Blank Street was a thing, even though I do drink Blank Street, but I got onto matcha before it popped.
Nice. So you'll have a matcha.
Yeah.
There's probably I can probably guess the answer to this, but if you could have matcha with anyone, who would it be? Why?
I mean, I think it would be really cool, obviously, to have Justin Bieber as my matcha drinker pal. I feel like we would have a lot to talk about. I do genuinely, you know, that feeling I have about Nike?
Yeah. Just put it out there.
Like, all I'm saying is that we all know the Biebs is going to pull up to one of my sets and we're just going to have a great time. And we're going to do a collab. And I know this for certain. We can use this podcast as a reference point.
There we are.
Right?
Yeah.
And then we'll timestamp it.
September 25.
And it's a promise to the universe. But I think JB, just having a little matchy-watchy with him would be pretty epic.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I can picture it now. Maybe somewhere in like either West London or maybe like Camden vibes, sitting outside, nice hot day, his tattoos out, just vibing off each other. Your sunglasses.
Yeah, my sunglasses.
Is there one big life lesson or bit of advice that you keep coming back to that you want to share with people?
Slow down.
Yeah.
I think there are tons of things that I could say, but I think off the top of my head, I think slow down / surrender. I'm a huge control freak.
Are you?
Huge. That's part of the anxiety. Anxiety likes to control. That's why I create crazy narratives in my head or crazy things where I'm thinking about 8 forms of outcomes and how it could potentially end up. And if I can prepare myself for that, it kind of takes away the sting maybe, or I don't know. And I think what I've learned in my life, I think honestly 30s is like a real realization, and you're on this side with me, so you can talk about that sort of experience. I would say slowing down / surrender. And I think when people think of surrender, I think people may think of giving up and just laying there and doing nothing. That's not what I mean. I think it's kind of still getting up and going about your day and letting things come to you, you know, like Nike came to me, Optimum Nutrition came to me, DJing came to me. And it was because every day I was reaching to keep sort of my inner self, like staying true to myself, staying sort of stimulated, going after what felt right, whether it was music or coaching or TV and film, and just going after what was my purpose. And in the process, I think the universe came around me and facilitated, because the universe was like, yep, we see it. She's, you know, really going after her purpose. And I realized the more I kind of just follow that feeling, that gut instinct, the intuition, and really followed my intuition, I feel like everything sort of molds. And I think in the process of that, you can kind of slow down a bit and go, you know what? I don't have to force, I don't have to rush. And it was one thing a woman said, I remember just doom scrolling on TikTok sometimes. There are nuggets of wisdom when we do doom scroll at 3:00 in the morning. And she said, if you're not in the ER, it's not an emergency. I was like, girl. And it's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. Because it's like sometimes it can wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
It can wait till next week. And it was so funny, like I mentioned slowing down. Yesterday I got home and I kind of got into my pajamas and I did my skin routine. I'd left my phone upstairs. I didn't realize I'd left my phone upstairs in my room. And I was downstairs and I think I was having dinner or something. And because of the world we live in, we're kind of reaching for it.
Where is it?
Where is it? And then I kind of caught myself, and then I was like, but I just said to myself, I was like, is there anything you need to do right now?
Exactly.
And I said no. And it was weird because it was kind of like a bit of a itch
Yeah.
and a scratch. And
Yeah.
that's what, especially with younger folk who are so used to having their phone. I did find myself kind of itching for it for a second. I'm not
Yeah.
going to lie.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I was like kind of having moments where I'm like, I kept being fine with it, and then I kept wanting to reach for it. So I kind of had to take a moment and
Yeah.
realize, hey, everything's been done and seen to. Leave your phone upstairs. So I left it, and it took a moment to kind of get out of that sort of itch to need it. But then I realized it helped me digest my day. Like I could
Yes.
just sit and have dinner and digest my day.
Yeah.
And I reflected on how my day went, on the people I met, what I need to sort of think about next, things that I may have forgotten throughout the day. And I think that's what I mean by like slowing down.
Yeah. I love that. And I think I've learned it as well in the last couple of years. I used to be so on the go, like needing to keep busy every single day, all the time. Now I'm like, yeah, I really should edit some of these podcasts that I've been recording. I've got some time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to like stress myself out.
Pacing yourself.
Exactly.
Burnout is real.
Yeah, totally. Thank you so much. We've got time for the quick fire round.
Please.
Are you ready?
Yes.
First thing you do in the morning.
Affirmations.
Really?
I wake up. I then brush my teeth, but I put my headphones in, and I hit, because the thing is that I remember seeing or reading that just before you go to bed or just before you wake up, you're kind of hitting like a certain level of brainwave, which is like the subconscious. And I think the subconscious is given to us through, childhood, environment, etc. And I know, especially working with my therapist, like we all have core beliefs.
Yeah.
And these core beliefs come from environment, childhood,
Absolutely.
life.
Yeah.
And through just growing up and working on myself. But also, I really believe in the morning, sometimes I used to wake up and I could dread the day, start talking, just not speaking well to myself.
Yes.
So I think when I'm going and brushing my teeth or washing my face, if I can just put in my headphones and just kind of, or even just put it on in the background, it's just there.
Yeah, nice.
And I can just hear these words that are going to help me. And because I've been doing them for a long period of time now, I even find myself in moments where I'm saying uncool things to myself, or I'm reaching for an old story that no longer serves me, or an old core belief. Because I've had these affirmations and these frank conversations with myself, friends, family, therapists, whatever, I can reach for a counter affirmation.
Nice.
So it's helped me sort of reprogram my life.
Love that. If you could pack a bag right now, where are you going?
New York.
Yeah. One thing that always lifts your mood.
When you find a really good track and you can't stop repeating it again and again and again and again, and it's like crack cocaine. Not that I've done that. But that feeling when you're like, that track is on repeat the whole day, that has taken me out of tired, sad, unhappy, challenging spaces.
Totally. One habit you swear by.
I do this other thing in the mornings.
Go on.
Grounding. So I go into the garden barefoot and put my feet on the grass.
Do you?
Yeah. And I just really connect to the earth. And I just talk out loud. Whether I talk out loud or in my head, I'm like talking to God, talking to the universe. I just feel like we take a moment to just really connect with Mother Earth and nature. So yeah, going out barefoot, go touch some grass.
I have heard this before.
It's grounding. I mean, I think we live in a world where spirituality has kind of entered there's two parts to it. There's this real sort of new age faddy stuff, which I think can get quite gimmicky, but I think people need to understand that spirituality is also an ancient practice.
Yes.
I'm half Indian, half Filipino, and my dad is he's not practicing Hindu, but he comes from that background. And Hinduism, isn't a religion, it's a philosophy, and it's ancient. it's an ancient practice, and you know, when I come from that via sort of, you know, my ethnicity and my own bloodline, it's very important to me. So I do believe in connecting with Mother Earth. So yeah, walking on the grass, even if it's for a couple of seconds to ground myself, it kind of, you know, we can go like that, dreading the morning, thinking about the next, so it takes a moment for me to and then sort of go about my day. So grounding, absolutely, I swear by it.
Love that. Favorite way to spend your day off?
Slow mornings.
Slow mornings.
Ugh, it doesn't have to be big, but I love a slow morning. Getting up around 9-10 o'clock, slow, taking everything slow, having a cup of tea. What breakfast do I fancy today? There's like, slow mornings are like my favorite thing to do, and that's where I like to start my day off. And then if it's, I just like to take things slow on the day off, because I think we're so a slow morning is like how I want to spend my day.
Amazing. Favorite place you visited and why?
Favorite place I've visited and why? Does this have to be like a country or a...
Doesn't have to be. Everyone has answered it as a country, but yeah, interesting.
I was going to say 2 spaces. I think I was going to say I have a lot of love for New York. A lot of love for New York. But I was also going to say, if we're talking about places in, like, for me today when I was coaching on the mic and when I was just recording my DJ set, these spaces, I actually get super emotional because I feel like I'm living in my purpose. Yeah. And I started to like kind of tear up when I was coaching today, and when I was DJing, I was like, I really feel like I'm tapping into God's gifts right here. So if it's like a literal space, then I guess where I'm at is maybe somewhere in New York. Also, I see myself just being in the middle of nowhere on a farm, like living my best nomadic life.
Perfect. One risk that you're glad you took?
Oh, my whole life is risks. Me becoming a coach was a risk. Me becoming a DJ was a risk. Me finally putting myself out on social media like this. Yes. Massive risk. I think people...
It's one of my biggest.
100%. Yeah. And I think you doing this is...
Too many people judge. Everyone's like, oh, another podcast, another whatever. Whatever, like, I'm enjoying myself.
But that's what I mean. And also, I wouldn't say, I don't say yes to anything. I watched your content, I know who you are, and I see the journey here, and I was like, I really like what you've got going on here, and I'd like to affiliate myself with it. Like, people I think initially say yes to everything, and I'm not like that, because you have to really think about things moving forward as well, and building who you are as a brand and your own identity. But yeah, what was the question again?
One risk you're glad you took. You've taken many. You've taken many.
I've taken many for sure, but my life is a bunch of risks for sure, and I just feel like it's now kind of come together in this cool way, and I think if I'd rather be proud that I've taken the risk than live in that regret.
Totally. Final question.
Tell me.
If you could time travel, would you go forwards or backwards, or just stay right here?
I personally would love to go backwards, and I'd love to go to like the ancient era. I'm talking like the Egyptians.
Really?
Maybe, because I have a reel in my head. I really feel like like maybe the Roman Empire, but like for me, because in my head I'm like, maybe I was Cleopatra back in the day, like a real ancient civilization, because I blatantly was like running the gaff, right? I was blatantly Julius Caesar's next in line, right?
I love it.
I feel like I always think about this. I was thinking, if it wasn't this era, where would I belong and how would I belong? And I feel like it'd be like amongst like the Roman Empire and running the joint.
I think we should all think about it at some point.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
Deep thoughts.
Yeah. Venetia, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I knew we would talk about Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
But I didn't quite know some of what we might talk about. And I love it. Yeah. And just thank you for being so honest and being you and sharing some of those bits around. Yeah, the bit that's really going to stick with me is around being lonely and alone. And yeah, thank you so much.
Oh gosh, thanks so much for having me. I'm super excited for this to sort of go out into the world. And I love what you're doing as well. So kudos to you, because I think people see this and think it's easy, and it's not. So it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to go to go and do this. And I feel that in sort of your energy and what you're building, but also I think you attract people. Like I said, vibe attracts your tribe. And I'm now feeling confident enough to share my story on social media and go brave and be a DJ and do all these things. So I think your vibe attracts your tribe. So you're doing great things. So
where can people connect with you, find out all about your stuff?
Well, I'm actually rebranding my website at the moment with that three-pronged approach of my production company, my DJing, and my coaching. But I would say social, so at I am Vnisha. If anyone wants to pull up to my DJ set, or if anyone would love to come coach with me and just connect and mingle, that is where you will find me.
Well, we'll tag you in the description, and we'll share you out on social media.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, why not hit that 5-star wherever you get your podcasts and hit the subscribe button so you're the first to know when the brand new episodes are released. We've also got more content over on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at chatter.beans. Until next time, keep chatting, keep sipping, and I'll see you soon.